God, I love that song. You know that. Hey, you're listening to KQCK radio station out here in the beautiful Santan Valley, Queen Creek, Phoenix, and the world. And it is that time for the Mark Winsor Show.
Welcome to the Mark Winsor Show with my co-host Tom Diller.
How you doing? Good seeing you.
We got a great show outlined for tonight.
We do. I'm excited.
My mic sounds like it has an echo there. That's better.
What about me? Am I good? I am
You're
good.
good now.
Is there an echo?
I hear no echo.
Mine just sounded like it had an echo like that, but now it's much better. I think it's because it was a little weaker than some of the others around me, so it was being picked up around.
They gave you the weak mic because you've got the strong voice.
Oh, is that why?
There's no weak mic here. Come on.
Well, you control all the switches over there. Hey, we're excited. We continue to see upgrades every time we come with these wonderful lighting. Are they on? Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Let's turn it into high def mode, guys.
High def.
You got it's like walking into a phone booth
So
and putting my cape on.
you're not used to this stuff.
No,
yet,
I'm not.
is
I'm
the
still out of
challenge.
the loop a little bit.
So I came in and Joe's all excited because now he's getting upgraded cameras installed as well. So this is really radio worth watching. Great stuff. You know, man, see, that makes a difference.
Wow.
Did that make a difference? That was like an immediate halo on my bald head. It's good stuff.
Nuclear flash, basically.
It was a lot like a halo.
You know, a number of months ago, we had Kiran Vedantam on. He's on with us again, and a realtor here in the Valley. He was on with us, 4 or 5 months ago? I don't know, something like that.
Yes, ma'am.
And after we posted that became, for about 2 weeks, the #1 watched show. In fact, it actually outranked months of shows.
It did, and you know, it's funny because where are you from?
I'm from India.
I thought he was going to say Glendale or Scottsdale.
I didn't want to guess that.
Born and raised in Yuma.
After your show, I got 60 new friends from India. No joke, 60.
Is that right? Wow.
It could be a coincidence. It might not be. I doubt it.
It's all his brothers. All his brothers. Everywhere.
That's probably your whole family.
Yeah,
Friends and neighbors and everything.
Whenever we see spellings, we get attracted. So I don't know if you noticed, but just the spelling bee contest just ended, and they were writing that in the last 10 spelling bee contests, 8 of them were from India, originally from India. I mean, they're all American Indian, but it was interesting. And then,
well, you have to be a good speller when your name is spelled this way, by the way.
You know, I won a spelling bee in the 3rd grade. I actually took 3rd place. I missed the word bruise.
Bruise?
Spell bruise.
BLUES.
See.
Japanese blues.
Never mind.
Yes.
but I mean, probably a lot of people from my clan probably tuned in just to see out of curiosity what's up with this dude.
Well, you know, we were thinking that any time now the market would turn and short sales would go away, and I guess it's turned a little bit. There are some of the valley that has kind of stabilized a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, the market overall has changed from when we did the show.
Yeah, just 5-6 months ago.
Yeah, because a lot of people were on the fence figuring out with their homes, hey, should I do the short sale or not? The fence has gotten much thinner because a lot of people either did their short sales, and I see only a last few people still hanging on there to figure out whether it's a good time to do short sale or not. And thank you, Mark. I mean, we've sent some clients your way who've got consultation, and then they said, man, Mark really helped us make the decision because a lot of people don't know what's going on in the market, and it's absolutely critical to figure out whether it's right for you to do a short sale or not, and to understand the market. Market has improved a lot. I mean, when I look at the numbers, it's staggering. So can you take a guess of how many homes we have
that are in short sale or underwater?
Under 100,000 today to buy.
So how many houses on the market?
Below 100,000.
In Maricopa County?
Yeah.
Less than 5,000.
No. No. It's got to be 12,000-ish, right?
Below 100,000.
Total.
48,000.
Price below 100,000.
Price below 100,000.
Oh, no, I would have no idea.
Okay.
Well, give us a reference point. I mean, what
was it 6 months ago?
Yeah.
Okay, 6 months ago, probably they were around 6,000.
Oh, I was close.
So now there's under 500?
Under 500.
Wow.
Yeah.
500.
That's what I thought.
500.
Do I not know?
Yeah.
Right.
See?
See, I mean,
The total market's probably in the 12,000 range.
total market is around there, yeah.
Okay, so
You're
but price
right.
under 100,000, 500. How is that right?
500. And out of the 500, maybe half of them are pretty crappy homes that have been sitting on the market. So essentially, good homes, if you want to buy below 100,000, there are probably 200 homes throughout the Maricopa County. That's incredible.
That is incredible.
That just means the sweet spot's moved up. So now 250 to 500,000, say Chandler or Gilbert or Mesa or whatever. Are there more of those properties, or are there less of even those properties out there?
Overall, the inventory has dropped. I mean, before the show, I just pulled up all the price ranges, the rate of appreciation. Across the board, even $800 to $1 million, the percentage change from last year to now is 10%.
Wow.
And across the board, everything is positive. Below 100,000, they increased by 10%. Below 75, by 13.5%. And even 200,000, they are about 8%. So across the board, the market has been increasing.
Now it looks like we have a caller that Joe may put on the air. We'll see if he goes on the air.
What's your name?
Our first caller. And we're going to do some contests as well as time goes on in this show where we give away some free consultations for callers. So, Joe, we've got a caller that...
This is Yuma or Juma calling from Phoenix.
All right. Hey, thank you for joining us. This is Mark Winsor.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing great. It's doing great. Thank you for calling in. Do you have a question for Kiran or for me?
Yes. Hi, Karan. How are you doing?
Good, Juma. How are you?
Oh, you know him.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
So, basically, I'm underwater, and I owe the bank close to $250,000, and the property value is close to $200,000 right now on Zillow. And currently trying to find another home so that I can rent my current property. And if I'm unable to rent it and it goes into short sale or foreclosure, and will I be hit with a 1099 that the bank would give me? I've been hearing some conflicting information on the internet saying that they would give me the 1099 and I would owe IRS basically a huge bill next year. So I want to know whether that bill is applicable to Arizona, and whether or not, even if it's not applicable, what are my options here?
That's a great question. We actually have two questions in that. You may not have realized that you have two questions. One is whether you'll get a 1099. That's one separate question from whether you have to pay the tax. Two separate questions. So everybody who has debt forgiven, so if the lender doesn't come after you, that means they're forgiving the debt, the lender has to send a 1099. But it's no big deal if you're not going to pay the tax. So we're not as concerned with the first question, are you going to get a 1099? Because the answer is, yeah, so what? Yes, you get one. The real question turns on whether you're going to pay the tax. Now, Kiran, just as we were starting the show, right before we went on air, Kiran made a very good observation that of the 3 or 4 ways to avoid that tax, one of those ways is going away in December of this year, and that is the Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Relief Act. It expires unless somebody does something miraculous. It expires at the end of the year. So is this your primary residence?
Yes.
All right, and is the money that you're borrowing, you only have a first, right?
I'm sorry?
You only have a first mortgage, right?
Yes, I'm correct. Yep.
All right, and was that mortgage used to buy the home?
Yep.
All right, and I must also disclose, since I'm talking to one individual, that I'm not giving legal advice. I'm just talking about a general situation because we can't establish over the radio an attorney-client relationship. So just in general, here's the rules: that if a house is your primary residence, and if the money's what the IRS calls purchase money, then which means the money was used to either buy or improve the home, then you do not pay any taxes on any forgiveness debt as long as the forgiveness occurs prior to the end of this year. Now, however, so by the way, in general to all the listeners, that's kind of motivation. If you're going to make a decision about a short sale and you haven't done it yet, now's the time, right, Kiran?
Yeah, I think the train has already left the station, so you have to catch it at the next station because short sales take about 4 to 5 months or 6 months or more. So we are already close to middle of June here.
So they better jump in now, because they haven't really missed it, but they're close.
They are very, very close.
They better jump in.
Yeah, I'm very conservative when it comes to timing, so you are very close.
A suitable buyer before the end of the year, and for some reason, if it goes beyond December 31st, 2012, and if the law is not extended, then I might be lot for the.
Oh, regarding a buyer, you'll get a buyer in a weekend or two.
Yeah.
I mean, the way the market is with the inventory, we're seeing multiple bids.
Yeah, you're getting that as well, kid. Multiple bids on multiple offers on a house.
Yes, finding a buyer has never been an issue when we do short sales. Even during bad market, now is a good market for the buyers, good market for the sellers. But finding a buyer is never part of the puzzle for short sales.
Now, that's a great question, too, about what if it goes beyond December 31st. So, in general, for all of our listeners, the rule is that there's several other ways to avoid that tax. Two of them are very clear, and one of them that I'm going to talk about is kind of in murky water that has not been tested yet in the courts as far as I know. So the clear ones, if you're insolvent. Now, for all the listeners, insolvency means you have more debt than assets. And it includes that debt that's being forgiven. So if a person's got $100,000 of mortgage debt that's going to be forgiven, then that's a lot. You'd have to have a lot of assets to be greater than that. So if a person has more debt than assets, then they do not pay that tax. That's the insolvency rule. Or we've had people, right, Scott, that have filed bankruptcy merely for the reason. And Scott Welker with my office is with me as well. He's an attorney that helps a lot with the short sales, real estate issues, things related to that. If a person files bankruptcy, they also do not pay that tax. Now, but you got to file before the debt is forgiven. Right, is the key.
Right.
But we've had people do that. They've come in, they're not insolvent because they may have a big 401k or something else that's protected in bankruptcy, but pushes them over the insolvency level, and they can use bankruptcy then. Now, this third way, not a lot of people know. If you're protected by Arizona's anti-deficiency laws, there's an argument, and I stressed all my listeners, this is not, in fact, I can tell you, you better go talk to your CPA because you do not want to try this on your own at home. You want a CPA backing you up. But if your CPA will buy this argument, arguably, if you're protected by the anti-deficiency statutes, either of them, then there is no forgiveness of debt and you do not pay that tax. Now, that's an argument that I make, but as far as I know, that has not been... there's not been a tax opinion, and there's not been a decision by an appellate court as far as I know. Now, if there's any CPAs out there listening or tax attorneys, because I'm not a tax attorney, who may be aware of an opinion on that, we invite you to call in and let us know. By the way, on the calls, here's what we're going to do. And thank you, by the way, for calling. We appreciate that. On everybody else who wants to call, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little a fun giveaway tonight throughout the night. When calls come in, every fifth call, the fifth call that calls in is going to get a free consultation, up to 3 of them. So, and that's a $300 value if you're not referred by a realtor. If you're referred by a realtor, I still charge $250 for that consultation. So that's pretty good value to get an hour of my time.
I mean, Mark, you just talk about $250. I think that's $1 million consultation right there. Because imagine, it's a big deal. That's a big debt, and you don't have all the information. On the online, one attorney says one thing. There is a blogger who has half information that blogs about it. So I think every cent of the $250 is really worth it for anyone, regardless. Having a legal consultation is so critical to the entire. The entire reason you go talk to an attorney is just to sleep better, understanding that, hey, that is the right choice for you.
Yeah, and there's a lot of nuances to these things, too, that you might not realize unless you talk to an attorney. For instance, Mark was just talking about tax issues, and what people might not realize is that in a different context, when you're talking about deficiencies, when you're talking about whether your lender could come after you for the money after a short sale or foreclosure, the definition of purchase money, the definition of main home, or the definition of primary residence is different than when you're talking about taxes. So there's lots of little nuances you could get tripped up on if you don't take the time to really get the right advice.
Yeah, and you know what? When they come in our office, it's not just the legal advice. I was talking to a attorney the other day that was surprised, but I think it's a disservice if all we do is talk legal advice. So we sit back and we talk to them about practical side of it, because that's not always the same as the legal,
Yeah.
The financial side, which is also sometimes different. The emotional side, not everybody feels the same about foreclosure or short sale or bankruptcy or whatever. and it's good to be able to vent that to somebody who sees the whole picture. And you know, the moral side, not my morals, but my clients. It's good to let them vent openly about when they hear the legal side, to put that against what their moral system of beliefs would be, and they can weigh all that stuff and take their time and not feel rushed and make a very good, sound decision on what they should do.
You know, I'm not sure we threw out the phone number. Joe, you want to throw out that phone number so we can get some folks calling in here?
Sure. It's 480-745-1033. And what are we doing? We're doing every fifth caller?
Every fifth caller gets a free consultation. We'll do 3 of those tonight. Three free consultations. Say that fast a bunch of times. Now, interestingly, there's other things that are very important going on. We've got coming up in a few weeks a wonderful seminar. Actually, not just a seminar.
It's a panel of experts. Actually, June 14th.
Beyond a seminar.
We actually have the Commissioner of Arizona, Judy Lowell, is going to be speaking, giving us kind of an update of the market. You're mentioning the market's turning. We'll talk a little bit more about that, Kieran. But Judy Lowell will be there. We'll have a panel of half a dozen attorneys. One is yours truly. Do I say yours truly when I'm talking about somebody else, or is that talking about me? One is Mr. Mark Winsor sitting on the panel. We do have a tax attorney. Paul Valentine, we have Jim Eckley, Mary Frances Coleman.
Yep, she's good. She's worth listening to.
Absolutely. So this is a panel of really what I call superstars. Each one of them are keynote speakers on their own behalf, radio stars like Mr. Winsor here.
You know, you mentioned too that not always do attorneys. I think it was Kidon that said, you know, you get on the internet and they don't always agree. Well, this panel, we have
some dissenting views, but I think is very important to have in a panel like this where you want to hear all the sides. So you as a consumer, the homeowner, the realtor, or the investor, what have you, can make the right decision that you think is the right decision based on the information you're getting from the folks that are educated in the market, Scott Walker and yourself. So, yeah, it's going to be a great event. It's going to be at the in Glendale at the Thunderbird School of Management, June 14th. You can find more information on my Facebook or Mark's Facebook there. But, you know, one thing I mentioned that, you know, we have about 13 sponsors that help us get these events together. It's not cheap, believe me, to put these things together. And I was going to talk about one sponsor every Tuesday night. And the winner tonight is NIP Construction. So a little bit about NIP. The NIP name's been around in the Valley for 35 years. It's a family-owned business that takes pride in their family name. NIP Contracting provides residential construction services in Phoenix and Las Vegas. These services include major and minor remodels, new home construction, 203K renovations, and REO construction services. I tell you, the folks, Wally and Wendy over at NIP are wonderful. We see them at a lot of association meetings. And for them to sponsor this event for us just means a lot, that they're very well liked and very well known in the industry. Again, that's NIP Contracting. KNIPP, look them up in the web or on Facebook. So there's the plug.
These panel events, they're typically sold out. So if you want to go to it, you better start acting on it.
Absolutely. We're about halfway full at this point. Again, it's June 14th, which is next Thursday. A little over half full, believe it or not. So
yeah, they usually fill up and get sold out. You know, interestingly, as we're talking as well before the show began, for several years, I've had phone calls from people who wanted to fight their mortgage company by arguing that the note was lost in transition, right? As notes get sold from lender to lender.
Right, I heard that.
And there's been a lot of that going on. And, you know, I always made the argument that when the dust settles, the lender would prevail in Arizona. Just having been in front of those judges and watching, it was just always my opinion.
right, you're making payments. It's kind of implied that you know there was a mortgage there.
Yeah.
To me, that forensic auditing or whatever it's called, to me was always a failed, almost like a myth, like an urban legend. Like people were almost like loan mod folks that first came out that weren't doing it properly or did it for all the wrong reasons. Same thing with, you know, if they can't find your note, stop making your payments. Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So I've been saying that for a long time, and then right before the show, Scott said there was a new opinion. Just 2 weeks
just
ago?
recently. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. It's if I remember the name, is Hogan versus Washington Mutual, and the Arizona Supreme Court, finally ruled on this issue, and basically said, no way, guys. They said, you know, it was interesting. They said if you look at Arizona statute, this says nothing about needing to show you who holds the note in order for a lender to foreclose. And in fact, they said if you look at the policy, really they're trying to create a shorter process for foreclosing, so it doesn't, not everybody's waiting around forever, including the homeowner. And they say if we put in this extra requirement that the lender has to show you the note, then we're going to have all this other litigation, and it kind of defeats the purpose of our foreclosure process anyway. So it's the final decision was.
You heard it first here.
Absolutely.
I tell you, you listen to some of my past shows. I've even had callers who called in, and I've said that I just don't think it will fly in Arizona. Now it's different, Tom. You started raising the forensic audits. That's actually a different theory, and that one does hold some water. The forensic audits are to discover mistakes in
in the APR or the due date or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and
it's
in
null
English,
and void. The
APR, so in
right.
English, the annual percentage rate.
Right.
Lenders must give proper disclosures. Now, I recently went through a refinance myself, and holy cow, what a pain in the... Holy cow. And even as an attorney who deals in this stuff, the paperwork, and when the dust settled, they showed me that I would be getting about 500 something bucks back from everything I was throwing at, and I got 100 something bucks back. Well, I'll get to the bottom of that. But the bottom line is that they have a duty to show all that, and they may come up, they showed me some document I missed or something. But what happens is, so many times mistakes are made, especially back when we had the 80-20 loans, the ARMs, the negative amortization, the pick and pay, all those types of fancy garbage loans. When we had those, it was hard. It's hard to give the proper disclosure, so the customer walks away not knowing what they've got. That's when it's a violation of either the truth in lending laws or the Real Estate Sales and Procedures Act, or one of those. Res Till is what we call those. And that's different. Those are worth fighting if you've got one of those challenges, because you didn't get the loan that you thought you'd have. But the result is not that you never pay it back. That's not the result.
Which was the urban myth.
That's right. Yeah. The myth was, man, I never have to pay that. If I went on this, they made a little error.
Yeah, so stop paying.
So stop paying, I'll never have to pay this. That's not the result.
Right.
The result may be $1,000 penalty per mistake they made. It may be rescission, which is a harsh penalty. But rescission doesn't mean you don't pay the loan. It means it just isn't attached to the house anymore, but you're still responsible for the loan. Now there's some bankruptcy things that could get in there that make it very interesting, but the bottom line is, even in those where we had very clear, this was about 5-6 years ago when I was fighting those things, we'd have very clear evidence that a mistake was made. We'd run up to the federal court, and the judges would side with the lender, even when it was clear law. That's why I knew in Arizona this show me the note thing wouldn't fly, because even when you have clear law on the the Real Estate Sales Procedures Act and the Truth in Lending Act, even there they were reluctant to side on the homeowner's behalf. So why would they do that on these silly show the note cases?
Right. Yes, and Mark, just to interject you, I got this email question, and my client, he wanted me to ask it on air. So he's a guy who is making decent income, but then his bank doesn't want to work with him on doing a refi. And they say that we don't want to do a refi, you did a cash out, it's a recourse loan, we are not going to do anything for you. If you want to foreclose, we are going to sue you after that, after foreclosure. So if somebody walks in like that, what is your typical advice? I mean, what are they really doing, and how confused are they? What's your opinion?
Yeah, that's a good question. And in general, when a client's in front of me, I look at a picture that goes beyond just that loan, first of all. Because the answer doesn't always lie just in that loan. So I have to see their entire picture. Do they own other real estate? Do they have other debts? What's their income? What's their other assets? What's their emotional state? Where is their house? How big is their house? All these things play. Because the options can range anywhere from, well, let's still try a short sell because I can negotiate better, and maybe the bank will change their mind if we have an offer in their lap. Because it is true, most of the time, we can negotiate better in a short sell than we can in a foreclosure situation most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. Even with some of the hard ones. I mean, we've got some lenders, I'm sure you experience the same thing, that some lenders go through smoother than others. Like Desert Schools Federal Credit Union is a booger. I mean, they're just, Satan reincarnated when it comes to trying to get through a...
How do you really feel?
Man, they're terrible. They're
Yeah, it's terrible.
They were out a few years ago giving seminars and giving false information that I know they knew were false. They were telling people their loans were non-dischargeable and bankruptcy and a bunch of bull crap like that.
And they'll sue you after the fact, too.
They will. They'll absolutely sue. And they make it very tough. You going through a short sale with them, you better be prepared to pay something. But sometimes it goes through. We sometimes get them through with very minimal contributions.
And in fact, in the DCU short sale paperwork, there is a sheet which says, okay, I'm applying for a short sale and I'm personally liable for the loss that the credit union is taking. So they have a sheet there. And my clients are like, should I sign it? I just say, just go talk to Mark first.
Yeah, because sometimes the client they're backed into a wall where bankruptcy is the option. And they don't like hearing that word a lot of times. But it sure takes the pressure. You know, if they're sitting there facing $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 deficiency, which I see often, or sometimes bigger, right? I'll see at times clients that have a portfolio of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses, and you add up all that deficiency, and it's a huge dollar amount. As much as, because they'll look at me and they say, Mark, I've never even been late before in my life. You know, they'll be sitting in my office current on this nightmare portfolio. Say, Mark, I've never been late on anything, and you're telling me bankruptcy? You know, if you can't ever pay it back, some of these lenders won't budge. You've got no choice.
Right. Now, once the house is sold, whether it's the through the short sale, there's no longer that property involved. So now it's a personal note. So bankruptcy will just wipe all that out. Correct?
It'll wipe it out regardless. So sometimes we'll do the bankruptcy first and then do the short sale. And people ask me, well, why would you do a short sale then if you're going to do a bankruptcy? And the answer lies in the client's desire to do what is in the client's mind right. In other words, they've got a willing buyer who wants to get the property. They've got neighbors they care about, and usually a short sale results in the neighborhood being better taken care of, right, rather than going through a foreclosure. So I've got
there's some, from the research I've done, there's some evidence too that it's better for your credit that way. That a foreclosure, even though you're in bankruptcy, foreclosure could still show up on your credit and damage it more.
You know, that is true unless it's repaired, but that is true unless you know what you're doing. It could. We had in fact, if you didn't watch that show about 3 weeks ago with Don McCraw and. What was the name of that company?
Go Clean Credit. Yeah,
that
you
was
definitely
a great
have to
show.
look that one up. Yeah.
They can fix those types of challenges. But Scott, you're right. Most people don't know that. And
I've had a lot of calls about her in the Go Clean Credit. One guy said, I went through a company, and he subsequently, because of the show, went with her. He said already in 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, she has done more than this last company in 7 months.
Yeah. She knows what she's
class
doing.
act right there.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a lot of people who have reasons for going through a short sale after a bankruptcy. Now, don't misunderstand. It's not that every time somebody has this uncooperative lender that what was that?
Joe's dinner, sun-kissed. There you go.
Sorry about that.
It's not even diet.
Oh, it is precious.
Oh, it is. There you go.
That was the sound of a can opening.
That was
very great.
You know, one thing, totally change the subject here before I forget. Nothing about his drink there. Congratulations, Kieran. Since the last time he came here, he's now an award-winning realtor. He was like the top.
What does that mean?
Yeah, he was the top 5 or so. I mean, this gentleman sells probably the most short sales in the entire Maricopa County. As a company, we Guarantee Title Agency does a lot of business with Kieran, so thank you so much. But tell everybody about the award you won, because I know it's extremely prestigious. I saw your photos plastered everywhere, so congratulations. Yeah,
thank you. It was really very humbling because we were working so hard last year, and you guys know how hard we worked, and we didn't even know we were ranked so high. So Arizona Business Magazine profiled us, and then they honored us with this award, Arizona Real Estate Achievement Award, and we are very proud of it. We were honorary mentioned there, and it was a big dinner at the Ritz-Carlton, and I was able to rub shoulders with Russell Shaw and other big agents, Walt Danley, very prestigious. I was really humbled. Thank you.
You know, funny enough, your numbers are up there too. So you those names you just mentioned are real estate old school in Arizona. Don't get me wrong; they're great people.
Yeah, we had Wendy Shaw on our show.
Yeah, good people. Yeah. But you rank as high as those folks. You are there because of all the business that you do and the great way you treat your customers. So congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. And interestingly as well, Kidon, I asked you right before the show what percentage of your business now is short sales, because when you were on last time, it was like 100%.
100%, yeah.
And now?
it's shifting, and I see the shift so fast. I mean, right now 70% is short sale, 30% is regular equity sales.
That's good.
And I think equity sales are increasing. And Mark, I think right now we are talking about short sales, and it's so critical that we are talking about that topic. And people who are on the fence, they really have to understand and just run to an attorney and figure out if it's right or not. And then just get a Boolean answer, yes or no.
Well, this is perfect because we're giving away 3 consultations, so that if you call in, you might be able to get a free consultation to get you off the fence, not to talk you into the short sale, but to make sure that that is a valid option for you to do. It may not be the option, but if it is, the clock's ticking, right?
Now we had another call come in with a question.
Yeah, we had Pete come in, and Pete just wanted to apparently reinsure that we didn't think Tom was lying, because he said he has definitely worked with Quran and Guaranteed Title and had an excellent experience.
Oh,
Very nice. Well, thank you. Was that Pete? Thank you,
Pete from Mesa.
Pete, thank you so much for calling in and saying that. We appreciate that.
Which branch does he work at?
We'll get that check in the mail to Pete.
See, again, for a short sale, I'm not talking like as an expert or just as a common man. What you want for a short sale? You want a very good team. You want to have a person that has a character that you can trust on and who is really skilled. So unless you have that, you cannot pull it off.
You know, let me tell you this too with the market shifting. And by the way, there's a lot of good attorneys out there. And so I'm hesitant to just tout my own horn, but I can tout that it's important to get with a good attorney just because, and not just with short sales. You know that I've done several consults lately with new builds that went bad. And one of them, she had put down $20,000, and then the construction was poor, the delays, but the contract was written against her, and she either goes through with it, with this crappy built house, or she loses 20 grand. 20 grand. Had she come to an attorney in the very beginning, prior to signing that stupid contract, I could have pointed those things out to her that, hey, you know, if the building's not the way you like it and that kind of stuff, you're still stuck type of thing. And she probably wouldn't have chosen that builder. She'd have shopped around more.
Yeah, but people are just scared to talk to attorneys. That's the reality.
Sure, and we're expensive. I mean, there's no doubt that usually somebody walks in my office, I'm $300 an hour, and I understand that intimidates them. If they're referred by a professional, it's $250 for a consult, even if the consult's longer. Now, Scott, you know, $200 an hour, or the consult's $150. I understand that's a lot of money, but you know, 20,000 is a bigger dollar amount. That's a bigger dollar amount. That's all I'm saying. And now with the market trend, there's more and more of those wraparounds. You know, buying from an owner that carries that kind of stuff. Man, why would they not run to an attorney on that? And not necessarily me. I mean, although, you know, admittedly I'm the best. No, I'm kidding. But they really ought to see this team approach you. It's just amazing to me that people would enter into a contract like that without seeing them.
Yeah, the non-standard ones, they absolutely have to see an attorney.
Yeah, now people do ask me about the standard ones. Because I get buyers from Canada and Wisconsin and, you know, New Jersey and all over the United States, people are buying real estate in Arizona. And so they'll want sometimes to use an attorney for the normal contracts just because that's what they're used to. And that is not necessary in Arizona.
Yeah, another issue that I've recently had some experience with that I see, you know, go wrong sometimes. In divorce, what happens to your house in divorce? And one thing that I've seen a lot of, and I think it's because it used to be that this was fine in the market, a lot of people will put, you know, one spouse wants to keep the house, the other spouse wants to get off the debt, so they put in their final divorce decree, they just say, well, the other spouse will just refinance that loan. And then they think it's so easy, just refinance that loan. You know, and I actually just wrote a blog about it on my blog, scottwalkerlaw.com, and I just say, when was the last time you tried to just refinance something?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you need to sit down with somebody who can work it out and structure it.
Ask me about that. That's exactly right.
But there are things you can do, and so you need to sit down with somebody who can say, here's how you should structure this, here's your plan B if that doesn't work, and make sure that you have all the right things in place.
Yeah, people don't realize that in a divorce, even if the divorce decree says one person's responsible, both are responsible if the loan says they're responsible. They don't know that. They think that
the bank doesn't care. You both signed.
Yeah, the bank
doesn't matter if you hate each other.
Same with credit cards. Yeah. Same with any debt. That just because there's a list on a divorce decree that one of the parties is responsible for all that debt doesn't mean the other one's not.
Yeah.
I mean, we see at times when one party to the divorce will list all the debts that they're responsible, and they'll just run and file bankruptcy. And it's granted they're no longer responsible for the debt, but all that happens many times is the other, you know, spouse will run back to court and readjust property settlement, to readjust it back.
Yeah, I mean, I've done few short sales with divorce, but actually it really puts into perspective the conflict among the people itself. I mean, if you are not divorced, probably both will sign, but the argument is there still. That whether to go do the short sale, not to do the short sale. One guy says they want to talk to the attorney. So
Here's an interesting thing I see too, that because of either family or partner situations, you have multiple names on the deed, and they want to do a short sale. Everybody has to be signing all through that process unless they quit claim it over to the one that's the one that wants to go through the short sale and sign everything. You got another call come in?
It said, I'll say it. What did I win? Dinner tickets? No, they were doing attorney consultations. Don't need that, thanks.
Yeah, very good, very good, very good.
Wow.
Not everybody needs that. Well, not everybody needs that. As the market's turning, though, I'm also seeing more and more who are coming in for living trust, which is a good sign. For a while, we just didn't see many of those. Kind of dried up a little bit. And so that's a good sign that the real estate market's turning, that people are freeing up some money and wanting to protect their assets and things like that a little bit more.
yeah, it's so important to do all that, and we all tend to ignore that and put it off.
Yeah. We should do a show sometime just on living trusts.
Yeah, we should.
Just,
We should.
on that.
So currency in the market changing. What are you seeing? What's your typical client that's walking in the door now?
I think it's probably the same as Kidon. Aren't you seeing that the market is more of the higher end now? The more of those who could afford to keep their house or their portfolio, but it's just wearing them out now?
Yeah, totally. In the past 3 months, that has been a typical. I think people who really couldn't afford the house, they were already gone in 2010.
A lot of them, yeah.
And 2012, whoever is doing short sale is totally strategic short sale, and they want to buy a $1 million house and then let go of their other smaller investment properties that they've been hanging on.
Are short sales, are you finding that they're changing as far as easier or harder to get through than they used to be? I mean, you were mentioning earlier it takes the right person, and I think it does. I think that we were saying it's not so much a matter of trying to find a buyer in this market. It's the long part is working with the bank, and I think it takes somebody who knows how to work with the bank. Are you finding there's a change in how the banks are working with people in the short sales?
The banks are very open, and it's much easier compared to how it was last year.
Even 6 months ago.
Even 6 months ago, exactly. I mean, they're so easy to work with, and now from June 15th, actually, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac they said that they are going to enroll in a program wherein they commit to giving a response on a short sale within 30 days. And if they don't give a response within 30 days, then they have to give weekly updates. And it's a lot of overhead that they are trying to avoid also. So that, and also the banks are giving relocation incentive money. Even the state of Arizona is giving another $1,500. Some banks, Chase Bank offered $20,000 on one short sale, and we didn't even ask for it. So Chase just offered.
Chase is doing a tremendous job trying to help the community. In fact, Chase is one of the sponsors on the June 14th event. Go figure.
Yeah, and that's interesting because Chase was one of the very worst to work with.
I think it's because they were understaffed, a year ago. They weren't ready for the onslaught.
Oh, their attitude was bad, Tom. We'll talk about, we missed our break time. Joe, can you get geared up for a commercial?
Absolutely.
I think it's important to support our sponsors. We get a lot of listeners who comment about how much they like our show, the information we give, the variety of our show, the variety of our listeners. It's definitely radio worth watching, but the only way we can continue is if you support our sponsors so they'll continue to support us. So join us right after the break. Mark Winsor, Tom Diller, Kiran Vedantam, and Scott Welker and Joe Carrero. Great team to talk about these wonderful subjects. Join us right after the break. God bless.
Are you ready to start taking control of your future and maximize your earning potential? Central Arizona College has smaller class sizes and personalized attention to help you compete in today's tough job market. CAC now serves Santan Valley and Queen Creek. The CAC Santan Center is located in the shops at Copper Basin on Hunt Highway, behind Barro's Pizza. Stop in and see how taking classes at CAC costs a fraction of a state university, and your credits can transfer. So, if you want to earn real money, you need to learn real skills at Central Arizona College. Enroll in classes today by calling 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu or call 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu. Central Arizona College, your way. Are you having plumbing or septic problems? No worries. Call Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Been in the Valley since 1996. Family owned and operated. Proudly serving East Valley and surrounding areas. With a full range of services from drain cleaning, septic tank pumping, general maintenance and repairs, inspections for the sale of your home. They provide excellent and courteous service for all your plumbing and septic needs. We're not satisfied till you are satisfied. Licensed, bonded, and insured. Call today. Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Contact Denise at 480-987-8051. That's 480-987-8051. Santan Motorsports, located in Queen Creek, specializes in off-road ATVs, dirt bikes, UTVs, side-by-sides, street bikes, and provides performance work. Santan Motorsports is your local dealership for off-road parts and accessories. They provide and pride themselves on excellent customer service and a staff that understands all aspects of the off-road business. Come in and browse our dealership and find those parts and accessories you've been looking for. Check our website, santanmotorsports.com, for monthly specials as well as used equipment. Santan Motorsports, your one-stop shop for sales, service, and knowledgeable staff. Located in Queen Creek on Power Road and Santan Boulevard. Or call 480-988-0580. Santan Motorsports. We're here for you.
If they have what they want.
Hi, Marie here for wannasing.com. Are you looking for professional DJ or karaoke services for your next holiday party or get-together? Wannasing.com can provide the best in sound, lighting, and a professional MC to host your next event. Whether it be a company party, birthday party, wedding, or any occasion, Wannasing.com is ready to provide the fun and make it a night to remember for years to come. Call 480-664-8801. That's 480-664-8801. Mention this radio ad and receive a special discount for your next fun event. Wannasing.com.
Welcome back to the Mark Winsor Show with Tom Diller as my co-host, and now Scott Welker going to be joining us each week from my office as our little legal expert.
So now I need to get another seat and put... So is he going to be the co-host of the co-host? Or is he the co-host?
You know what the hope is, now that you ask, what the hope is as the 7 o'clock show, what show's after this one? 6:15?
Money and Motivation, 6:15.
Money and Motivation, 6:15. As that show becomes completely independent, I'll only appear occasionally on that show. I'll appear most of the time on this show, but occasionally as well, Scott will take with Tom the main seats on discussing real estate and legal issues, stuff like that. And I will again start the political show right prior to this show at 4 o'clock is what the hope is.
Gotcha.
If my schedule will allow that.
Well, Scott and I dress alike, so it's going to work.
I could see that. I thought it was guaranteed.
You're almost like twins.
He'll be pulling up in a BMW next time, you know. He's just
Sweet.
slicking his hair back.
But to be a good co-host, you don't just slick it back. You have to shave a little bit right there to make it really look good. In fact, we just got all our pictures back from that trip. I took that trip to
Costa Rica.
No, Catalina Islands.
Oh, Catalina. Oh, yeah,
Just
how'd that go?
This guy travels everywhere.
That was fun. Yeah, I went with older scout groups, so the 14 through 17-year-olds, and great fun. Spent 4 days on a 100-foot ship.
That's like the Truth, the Constitution, those
boats?
boats?
Yeah, it's called the American Pride, and it was a fishing vessel, but it was built in 1941, so it was built out of wood, because that was during the war when all the steel was being used for military vessels. And kind of like just an old pirates type vessel, the sails and the hold downstairs. You slept in the beds that are, the ship type beds. Anyway, fun stuff. Not scuba diving, snorkeling. Saw cool stuff.
With the Garibaldis, huh?
With the Garibaldis.
Big orange fish?
Yeah, I didn't know that's what they're called.
You
How
see
did
that?
you
You just-
know that?
Because I'm an expert with fish.
Oh, okay. Then
Right.
a grayish manta ray, about 5 feet span. We saw one of those just right under us, a couple of feet under us. I was worried about its tail flipping up and getting me. A crab about the size of a volleyball, and he picked it up,
Sweet.
brought it up. Sea stars, I found out they're not starfish.
A lot of different legs, like 30 legs.
The crab?
No, the starfish.
No, it was a
Or it's an
sea
urchin?
star.
So there's a difference?
Yes, apparently there's no such thing as a starfish because they're not fish. They don't have
actually
gills.
fish.
They don't have, yeah, right. They're a sea star. But in any event, it was a big one about the size of a pie plate, and it would wrap around your hand and feel. Yeah, it was cool stuff. And lots of those. What'd you say the orange ones were?
So the Garibaldis.
Lots of those.
Lots of sea urchins.
Lots of sea urchins. I'd swim down 15, 20 feet and grab shells off the bottom because they're very cool looking, and I would look at it and want to take it home, and then we'd take it to the ship, and little things would crawl out so we wouldn't be able to take it because they were living in there.
That's very inhumane to do that. Take their home away.
Well, again, I did take it.
I mean, it's kind of like a short sale type of deal. It's not.
No, I just said we did not take those that were living in. We only took the repossessed ones that were empty. And I did take some of those that were already empty.
But it is very PC of you, though, to call them sea stars, though.
Did you hear about the new cruise, the Carnival Cruise? And they are looking for what do you call it chaperones? It's the Adult Girl Scouts cruise. I guess these were Girl Scouts when they were younger, but now they're a bunch of women going on this cruise, and they're looking for chaperones to take them to. I think it's the Channel Islands, Catalina,
Chaperones.
Santa Barbara.
But they're adults.
Right, Tom? What do you
I'm
think?
there. Sign me up.
You'd be
what
the
can
only
go
guy,
wrong?
right? You'd be the
What
only
can
guy
go
right
wrong
now.
with that? What can go wrong with that? Would they dress up in their little
It's
outfits?
a public. They're going to still wear Girl Scout outfits.
So, kid on.
He's
one thing
disgusted
you
at
need-
us.
Yeah, one thing you need to understand about this show. We got one family man here, and then these.
All I can
I
vision
was
is
just thinking-
tilted kilt outfits.
I was
running
just thinking
around.
about the cookies, but
Yeah.
I want to look the other way because Mark's giving me a dirty look.
There you go.
I'm going to remind my listeners, though, that we have a wonderful event coming up June 14th.
June 14th.
And it's not the cruise.
It's a
It is
short
not
sale
the cruise.
panel of experts with Judy Lowell, our Commissioner of Real Estate, several wonderful keynotes attorneys, Mark Winsor himself, Mary Frances Coleman.
She's wonderful. It's worth coming just to listen to
Absolutely.
Mary Frances.
Paul Valentine, which is a tax attorney, so we've had some tax questions, so he's going to be there answering those.
I'm going to
and Jim
ask him
Egley.
that one. But the one I raised about the anti-deficiency statutes protecting against a tax, debt forgiveness tax. I'm going to ask him that. So
I
let's
think you
take
should.
this.
I think you should.
He may
So-
not agree with me.
He may not. So this is a wonderful event for any realtors, lenders, or anybody in the real estate market, investors, or what have you. Anybody who touches the market, it's probably the place to go. We only have 250 seats, and about 125 have been sold.
And we're broadcasting there, right?
I think so. Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
going
we
to be
are.
great. We can use the brand new equipment. I got the brand new stuff in. Oh, is it nice?
No, actually, correction. We're broadcasting in July on the NARAB, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals show.
But would you want to also have we even asked them if we could broadcast? That'd be cool.
Well, the one in June
panel.
14th is my event, so if you want to, we can be there.
I might just
Absolutely.
wear a suit made of speakers and stuff, and you know what? I don't even have to ask them. I can just walk through and be broadcasting. No
I
one
mean,
will
that
even
could
notice.
be cool to
Well,
broadcast.
if you
your
want to,
panel.
let's. You know what? Because I've had people ask me to videotape it or to record the whole thing. So yes, let's talk about that offline. Now, Kieran, you'd mentioned about having your team together, which is a good thing, and I got to throw in a little bit of a plug for Guarantee Title Agency because we do a lot of your processing.
Totally, yeah.
And what that is as a title company, we take all that back end paperwork, which at one point caused a lot of the issue in short sales, paperwork getting lost or. People submitting onesie, twosie pieces of paper to the lenders where we gather it all up and we use their systems, which is Equator or some of these other systems, and we submit all that paperwork to the banks.
So, I mean, let me talk about that because without having a good title agency partner up with any realtor, it's impossible to do the short sale properly because you guys do the title report before, we identify the liens, that's a big deal actually. And then gathering the paperwork, it avoids a lot of overhead and realtors can just focus on helping the consumers and then title, the back office is being held by Guarantee Title. It's an awesome marriage, I would say. Unless we have everybody working in sync, I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, and for us, it's a pleasure working with realtors like yourself, and once it's partnered with like Winsor Law, because the deals come in so clean. In fact, consumers that are out there, if you're talking to realtors, ask them if it's attorney-run short sale. If they're working with an attorney on the property, because I think that's huge and that's very important.
Oh yeah.
Don't you think? You talked about the credit unions jumping in and suing and all that. Maybe the credit unions do deserve some of the money, so maybe the attorneys talk them down a little bit, or the process is to file the bankruptcy or what have you. But I think it's crazy for anybody to jump into this process without having a team of professionals on their side.
We also haven't mentioned, but part of that team is also the mortgage professional who will help them know how to plan and get back on their feet.
Right.
The complete cycle. The complete cycle.
Yeah.
The exit strategies was like.
Yeah, we encourage them to do that right up front. Get with somebody that you trust and establish that relationship. And I know, Kiran, you have some that you work with already.
Absolutely.
That help people plan ahead and say, all right, here's your 2-year or 3-year plan to get back on your feet afterwards.
Exactly. And just like how you do it, Mark, I totally remember my clients call me and say, hey, we talked to Mark. He said it's not even necessary to have an attorney really do this short sale for you. So it's very important to have a loan guy who can really talk about the truth and not really worry about, hey, how am I going to get paid? Because
that's right.
This is not a transactional based occupation for me. I don't do based on transaction. I'm not really looking to get paid hourly or by a transaction, but to build a relationship and do the right thing for the clients. And that's how I think, that's why even Guarantee Title, you, me, we all can work together so well, because our goal is to do the right thing. We are not really going after anybody.
That's right. In fact, I sometimes have clients who want us to do the negotiations. And quite frankly, it's a rare thing that you need us jumping in. Sometimes at the tail end, if there's a problem, we play good cop, bad cop. We write a letter and be the bad cop, and the realtor can be the good cop and say all that nasty attorneys, and they can make it the short sale go through. But, I would say, especially now, most of them I see, I had one just today get their approval letter. In fact, it's one that you've been helping with. It's got several properties. Got one today. I just didn't think this dude would get them all through. And all they want is a $2,000 contribution. This is a guy who's got some assets and stuff. And that's all they want. $2,000 for him. $2,000 contribution is nothing compared to what he's got that they could have asked for. That would not have flown 6 months ago.
Yeah, executives at the bank are really seeing that, okay, is the asset toxic enough? And then, like, they did a counter offer on Wells Fargo last week, wherein they were asking for $6,800, and my client said, I'm going to pay $500, and they took it. So it's very unpredictable on how the banks are doing it. But the question is it right for you to do a short sale or not, which you have to identify the answer right now. You can't wait. That's number one. And once you decide that you want to do a short sale, just pick the team and go for it, because there are a lot of moving parts to the game. You don't know where it could fail. Even if it fails, at least hey, you tried, instead of just contemplating about it.
Now let's talk about the buyers for a minute. Where should a buyer focus? On short sales, on bank-owned ones, on the normal market? Where should a buyer?
So, if you are a buyer in this market, the first thing is you cannot stress about it, because it's very, very stressful being a buyer right now. There is no inventory, very low inventory, everywhere it's multiple offers. If you are a buyer who wants to get a loan, it's even more difficult. So
when you say, inventory challenges, in what price ranges? That's not every price range, I can't imagine.
Just like how I showed it to you.
That's under 100. How's the inventory in houses that are between 300 and 500,000, for example?
The inventory is very low.
Is it even on there?
Yes.
How about 500 to a million? Because that used to be
across the board. So
across the board, really?
Across the board, the inventory is very low. And
that's a change. Isn't that a change? Because it wasn't that long ago that people could not sell. Now he's handing me statistics. This will be fun.
You're talking about the luxury market.
We got another call that wants to be on the air. It sounds
Guys, you have your first winner right here. His name is Chip. Chip, where are you calling from?
Queen Creek.
Oh, from Queen Creek. Hey, that's where I live. That's
all
wonderful.
Right.
We get calls from not only all over Arizona, but sometimes we get calls all over the United States.
And it never fails. The lines are always ringing at the same time when one person calls in.
Now comes in all the calls. Hey, Chip, congratulations on winning. And you've even got your choice then. You can meet at our Mesa office or the new Queen Creek office. We just signed Scott doesn't even know this.
I didn't know that.
I signed the lease yesterday.
Well, that's good news. That's good news for me because I live out in Queen Creek too.
So, Chip, do you have any kind of real estate or short sale or any kind of question that you want to shoot out while you've got Mark here and all the boys?
Gosh, not right now. I rent right now, so.
Well, any consultation you'd like to meet me about, you now have one in your belt. You can use it any time.
And I'm going to keep you on the line off the air here, and I'll get your information, Chip. Thanks for calling, Chip. Congratulations, buddy. All right.
All right, so we've got a stack of statistics here. Let me see if I can figure this out. What does this even mean here? So explain to me what I'm looking at. So tell me what I'm looking at here.
So this one, it's a price point.
So we've got it's broken. It's got a chart broken down by price ranges.
And then dollars per square foot,
Okay.
how much it was in 2011 versus 2012, and the percentage change in the price, dollar per square foot.
Okay.
So essentially that tells how much the market appreciated at different price points.
But do you have one that tells how fast the turnaround on houses?
Days on market.
Days on market. Yeah, that's the number. Days on market.
Days on market, not on that sheet, but the days on market has been crazy. The days on market have really crashed.
Because it wasn't that long ago that any property over 500,000 was just sitting there.
Just sitting there, but now they're all going also very
Really,
fast. Yeah.
really.
So have you found strategies, Karan? I mean, what does a buyer do then? Who I'm sure you get frustrated buyers who come in and they say, well, how do I ever get a house?
See, there are three things that the sellers are really looking for. One is the appraisals again are coming low again. So the sellers are looking for offers wherein the buyer is willing to pay that money that they are offering, regardless of how the buyer's appraisal comes through. Mm-hmm. And then they are looking for again a quick close and no contingencies with financing, meaning that they are preferring cash offers over lending. Just like Mark said, the lending guidelines are so tough. So that's why it's very important that buyers make a very clean offer, no contingencies, don't ask for closing costs, and be willing to close fast.
You get someone up here, M. Paris says, I don't think it's the title agency's fault. I think it lies with the bank and the loan officers. I don't know if that was like the last...
Fault for what?
I don't know if that was like a last question or two because I was on the phone. I'm sorry. If you want to rephrase that, M. Paris, to let us know that was regarding...
Yeah, I'm not sure what the fault would be. Here's one of the things that is happening, though, unless this has also changed. One of the challenges that realtors were having that have been guests on my show and they've been referring clients to me is that they get the offers in, but the appraiser comes in low enough to make it a challenge. Is that still a challenge out there?
That is absolutely a challenge because obviously the appraisers, if the market is going up, the appraisers, the algorithm that they use is they want to look at sales that happened like a month ago, which closed 2 months ago, wherein the offers were really low that time. So the appraiser cannot, even though they know how the market is, they have to go and show the data. And the data is low. And now the Zillow is very active. Everybody knows about Zillow and Zestimate. So everybody is looking at that. Even Zillow is behind the actual market. They didn't catch up. So what you see in Zillow, in a flat market, Zillow is pretty accurate. But in a market that is crazy like here, you always are behind with what the truth is.
How about owner carrybacks? Is there a market for that now?
There is a great market because the lending and people who did short sales, foreclosed on their homes, they are looking for properties with carryback. So
what kind of terms are you seeing that owner? Do you have a feel for what owners are asking of down payments and things like that?
Most of them are asking about 30% down.
30% down?
Yes, and the interest rate anywhere from 6 to 8%.
6 to 8. So you pay quite a premium on the interest if you don't have the credit to get your own loan.
Yes, and that's why even the big banks are jumping into that. So if you had a short sale, I had People's Mortgage contact me and say, if you had somebody who did a short sale, we can do their mortgage immediately. We can they can start looking for homes immediately, and it's
the day after. Yeah, the day after. Yeah.
Even if they were late during the short sale process?
Yes, even if they are late. If they have good income,
30% down and about a 2.5 point premium.
Yes.
Can we jump back to M. Parisi? Regarding the issues of loans going through because of how paperwork is gathered, timelines, and etc., and what the comment was, I don't think it's the title agency's fault. I think it lies with the bank and the loan officers.
Yeah, you know what? At the risk of my loan officer listening, I agree. I don't know whether it was the bank or the loan officer, but fingers were pointed at times at the title company. But man, I don't know. I won't say the name of the bank because I don't want to embarrass Wells Fargo, but it was a nightmare. They drug their feet, and then all of a sudden they'd tell me my deadline is 24 hours to get something, right? 24 hours to get to the title company to sign or something like that. It's a nightmare.
The title company is just kind of the repository of all the information. They don't dictate who does what, when, where, and how. They get the information. Whenever they get the information, that's when the clock starts ticking. So if the instructions say you must sign by X date or you're going to lose the loan lock or whatever, and if the title company gets it the day before, there's not a huge deadline because of what the title company did. It's because of the way when the loan stock came in from the bank.
Right. Just to add to that, and we have to give credit to the title company. If you don't hear from them, that's good news. But title company manages everything behind the show, and that's what GTA and all the good title companies do.
Right. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So it's not just gather the paperwork. It's a lot of pointing the arrows the proper way and making sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. So hard work. A lot of work.
All right, we have covered some great information. Believe it or not, our time is up. Once again, we've just given some great information out to our listeners. We appreciate those who've joined, those who've called. We only had one winner. That's odd. Usually on these shows we get so many calls, so I don't know what the deal was tonight that maybe giving away a legal...
Maybe people were a little afraid of maybe thinking that it was some kind of catch because it's illegal. People are afraid of attorneys, and people are afraid of you specifically, Mark, because of your aggressive nature.
Well, they caught us. It's a sting. We're going to have them come to his office and they're going to be handcuffed and taken away. So, gosh, good for you, listeners.
And the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to bring out the dogs and smell you down, make sure you don't have any counterfeit money or drugs on you. So.
That is funny. Kiran, it's an honor having you on our show again.
It's my pleasure.
Congratulations again on your award for the recognitions for the hard work you've done.
Thank you.
We look forward to having you out again.
Thank you.
Tom, as usual, good co-hosting there.
Thank you, sir.
Scott, I look forward to having you many times on as a co-host. Joe, I appreciate all that you do.
Me too.
It's a good-looking table here today, huh?
Lots of testosterone.
On this end here.
Relatively speaking, I guess. Join us each week. This is definitely radio worth watching. God bless.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Wow. Edible arrangements. Beautiful, delicious, and delivered right to your door. You won't believe your eyes when you feast upon these beautiful edible gifts.
Located in Queen Creek on Combs and Ganzel in the Fry's Shopping Center, Edible Arrangements is the leading purveyor of delicious, high-quality, artistically designed fresh fruit arrangements that are a practical and healthy gift, perfect for every occasion. They feature a wide variety of delicious items to choose from, including mouth-watering chocolate-dipped strawberries, juicy pineapple, and melon arrangements, just to name a few. Contact Edible Arrangements at 480-655-6464. That's 480-655